We are here today with my friend Rob, and we're kind of switching things up a bit. So we're actually doing a video. So if you're listening on the podcast, we're actually doing a video cast as well, trying to get Rob's experience of our ChiroThin program. He just finished. How long ago did you finish?
3 weeks.
3 weeks ago?
3 weeks ago.
Okay. We'll get all his numbers here in just a little bit. But finished 3 weeks ago. Had great success on the program. But I really wanted to dive in and get some more detail on how he did on the program and really hear from him how it all went, unbiased.
Exactly.
Just really rip into it.
That's right.
All right. So, so first off, tell us just a little bit about you and your background.
Okay, so I've been involved in sports most of my life. Grew up playing sports, played them through college. Tried to stay as active as I could after college. But like with most of us, just kind of became sedentary within and dedicated to the job. Still, I've traveled a ton of places with my job, and so that's been the majority of the exercise that I've had. And I found where I wasn't getting enough. I was starting to gain weight, and starting to notice that, my 1 or 2 days in stints in the gym and my 1 or 2 days of eating well every once in a while, every fourth meal, just wasn't good enough for me.
Yeah. And how old are you?
I'm 45.
45. So he's close to my age. I'm 48. So 45-year-old male, worked a lot out, traveled a lot.
Right.
I know you're gone all the time.
Right.
And I remember that I got a call from you, and you're like, okay, man, I'm ready.
That's right.
I'm ready. Finally, enough is enough, and let's do this. So I talked to you about the program and told you how it all works, and you said, I'm dedicated to it.
That's right.
And you went for it. But you were like, okay, I'd reached a point.
Yeah, I had reached a point. I had been told enough from my wife, Lorraine, it's time to eat better. And she's a health nut. She works out a lot more than I do. She eats a lot better than I do. And
good job, Lorraine.
She gets the kids eating a lot better. But, when you're not ready to hear it and take it in, you're not going to do anything about it. And I had started a new job this past February, and I bought, new clothes for my new professional career. And I remember standing in front of the mirror in my office in Dallas, and I'm going, what the heck is that? And it was really referring to my midsection. And it was just, I was very uncomfortable. And I actually was calling you on the way out the bathroom door.
Great. I'm glad you're thinking about me in the bathroom. That's awesome.
That's right.
And you worked out quite a bit. I mean, we've known each other now for a few years, and spent a lot of time in the gym together, so working out wasn't the issue.
Yeah, and it was one of these things where I'd go 2 or 3 times a week when I could, when I wasn't traveling. But when I'm traveling, it was you're eating bad, you're staying up late at night, nothing's regimented, and you just don't work out the way you should.
Yep. So we decided to start this thing.
That's right.
And I don't quite remember our start date. It was
it May's?
April?
I don't know what day.
25th.
Yeah.
April 25th.
April 25th.
Yeah, April 25th. And we'll go over all those details here in a little bit. But April 25th you started, and just kind of bring us up to speed with what you heard from me, what you expected, and how it went.
Right. So, again, I'd reached a weight that I had never seen before in my life.
You want to share what
it was 227.
227.
I was 220.6. Is that right? 227.6?
0.4.
0.4. Okay. So I had reached this point, and I think that, I'm not a dieter. I've never once before gone on any sort of plan. I haven't had the willpower to stick with something. But again, as I said before, is that when you challenge yourself, and being a sports-oriented person, extremely competitive, I put myself to a challenge and said, okay, whatever Will needs me to do, I'm going to do it.
We're going to follow the program.
And to be honest with you, when I called you and said, let's do it, I had no idea what I was getting myself into, other than I knew I was going to eat a bunch of stuff I probably never had before, and probably surely the heck haven't had enough of it.
So day 1, day 2, that's the loading phase to this program.
Yeah.
And everybody either loves it or hates it.
Yeah.
Which one was it for you?
Yeah, so for me, I went in somewhat apprehensive. And my story was very simple in the first 2 days with the 5,000 calories. I remember walking in McDonald's and I got 2 sausage and egg biscuits and a large sweet tea. There's 1,200 calories right there. And I ate it in the parking lot because I knew I had to go to the grocery store to go pick up food to eat all day. Without going through everything that I ate, I literally, by 6 o'clock that evening, I remember calling you about 7 o'clock that night. By about 6 o'clock that evening, I'd only had about 3,700 calories, and I knew I had 1,300 more to go, and I was stuffed.
Yeah.
And it was starting to weigh on me that, oh my God, I've got another day of this. And literally the second day, I started off breakfast the exact same way. And to be perfectly frank and transparent with this, I'm in the parking lot eating it again, and I started crying because I realized how poorly I had been treating my body. And I also realized how sadistic this entire plan was in having to eat 5,000 calories 2 straight days.
It's tough.
I churned through it,
Yeah.
but it was not an easy 2 days for me.
So for some, it's not pleasant, right?
Yeah.
It's tough to get through those first 2 days. But there's a metabolic reason why we have you do that. We're trying to actually spike your basal metabolic rate.
Right.
And trying to just like shove the metabolism going forward. Because then day 3 through 42, this is a 42-day program. So days 3 through 42. Kind of take us up to speed on the first few weeks there, beginning stages.
You know, I was excited to get started. So I was in that phase where when we hit day 3, I was ready to go at 500 calories. And I admit, I wasn't quite sure how I was going to be able to survive on just 500 calories. No. But I was amazed. I remember I sent you a picture on the very first day, and there I had a bowl of strawberries, and I had a bowl of grilled zucchini, and I had my 4 ounces of chicken, and I had a monster spring mix salad filled with cucumbers and balsamic vinegar. Yeah. And I was stuffed after that. And that was about 230 calories, roughly, all that. Yeah. And I realized quickly after the first meal, this isn't really that bad. It was good food, it didn't taste bad, and it was a lot of it.
Who made it for you?
I did, actually.
Awesome.
I cooked it all. In fact, I got quite good in this whole process of using cast iron skillets and whatnot.
You can learn to cook.
So I learned. I got pretty handy in the kitchen, which was nice. I became dependable on myself. But honestly, I filled in the gaps with water and slices of cucumbers. Probably the first few days, and even in the first couple of weeks. I think the cucumbers kind of slid off because I was eating so much at lunch, based on the large salad I was eating almost every day. I never really felt hungry definitely not in the first 2 weeks. I'm not going to lie, there was a couple of moments where I'm like, I really wish I could have this because either my kids are eating it or I saw someone else eat it, or there's a running joke of, hey Dad, take us to Chick-fil-A, and I've got to hand it over to them. It's like smelling it along the way, right? But honestly, my willpower, my competitive spirit kicked in. I'm like, I'm not doing it.
Yep. So before the program though, your wife told on you.
Yeah,
you're a big carb eater.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. I love bread.
Yeah,
love bread.
And so that was a change, a transition for you to kind of get away from that. But we also learned before you started this, you had developed a little bit of some inflammation down in your lower gut.
That's right.
And how is that today, by the way?
It's gone down significantly. The doctor another doctor had diagnosed it as being a kind of atrophied muscle due to an injury, but due to the proper eating and again adding to the exercise, it's reduced significantly. That I think maybe I'm the only one who can still see it.
Yeah. So what we discovered through this kind of whole process is Rob probably has a light gluten sensitivity, and which causes him to be systemically inflamed. Also, you might have had even leaky gut, or the beginning stages of maybe full-blown leaky gut. So it's good that you actually got onto the program because we kind of solved that problem.
That's right.
We solved it. So we healed the gut, which was really good.
Yes.
Were you taking any medications before you started?
So I was taking cholesterol and blood pressure medications, and I haven't taken either one of them since day one.
And day one, his BP was 138/86. Is what I recorded on day one.
Right.
And sorry, fumbling. I don't know what. I think it just normalized, right? We got
it definitely normalized.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't even have it in here. I have your final.
Yeah, I want to say it was maybe low 1-teens.
Okay.
Over 80, somewhere in low 80s, I believe, if I remember correctly.
All right, so let's press on. Anything on, normally day 3, day 4, people have like a little mild headache. Did you get anything like that?
I experienced no headaches because I drank well over 100 ounces of water a
That's
day.
what yeah,
Absolutely.
good.
I had no headaches from that experience.
Now, one thing about Rob, since he does travel a lot, well, he used to travel a lot for work. Now
Right.
it's kind of backed off a little bit
Right.
more. But you were so worried because what was it, week 3, week 4, something like that?
Yeah.
You were going to go on a trip.
That's right.
Business trip.
That's right.
And you're like, oh crap.
That's right.
What do I do?
I was extremely worried about that. In fact, I went on 3 trips during the 6-week period.
Okay.
Gone probably at least 12 nights, which is a significant amount of time during this short compressed period.
How'd you handle it?
I did really well. I was in Dallas twice and New York City once, and I found it rather easy to just tell the waiter or waitress what I wanted and what I didn't want. If I didn't want butter or I didn't want oil, it was very clear. If I wanted a side of strawberries and it wasn't on the menu, they would give them to me, usually from the bar. They would, because they always have strawberries.
You were that guy.
Oh, I was that guy. It was kind of funny. I remember one time I actually had a waiter just sit down next to me going, just sit down, because this is going to take a while. But every single restaurant I went to, as much as they could, conform to what I needed, they would do. And it really didn't become that difficult. The hard part was, again, in being on business was, not consuming alcohol. So there was no liquor, there was no beer. And, that was kind of a hard thing to do in a social setting. But again, it just kicked in competitive spirits and didn't allow it to happen.
Yeah, and that's good. Definitely alcohol is not on the program.
Right.
People have, that have gone through it, have definitely partaked in it. And we just tell them, hey, if you do, just know that your results are going to be a little bit slower.
That's right.
Because we turn alcohol right to sugar whenever
That's right.
we do it. Okay,
That's right.
So you're about halfway through the program, and you went on a trip. You handled that just fine. What were your results right around there? The first few weeks you had dropped a ton.
If I remember correctly, in the first 2 weeks, I was probably down 14 or 15 pounds.
Yeah.
It was very, very.
This thing's working.
Oh yeah, and that honestly was one of the biggest things for me to
Motivator.
continue doing it. Was I'm seeing results and I'm seeing it immediately.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I felt strong enough after 2 weeks to start working out. And now again, my travel schedule didn't allow it as much, but when I did, I felt strong and I didn't feel any moment of weakness, even though the program doesn't suggest you do it.
Right.
I was
No, it's
very,
not required.
I was very careful about what I did. I didn't over exude myself too much.
And we modified just a little bit on those days that you wanted to work at.
Correct.
So we brought in a few more calories on those
Right.
days. And then there was one point, though, that you were eating too few calories and you
That's right.
stalled a little bit.
That's right. There was. I think I was somewhere in the vicinity of 470, maybe even 460 calories.
I was like, man, you're not eating actually enough.
And it was tough. The busy days kept me from eating on schedule, and that got me behind because I tried not to skip meals at all throughout the whole thing, but occasionally it happened. Yeah. I felt a little bit of a decline in those days, just a little bit weaker. So I would kind of just chill out for a few hours, and I was good.
So then we make it to the end. Did you have any struggles during the whole thing?
The biggest thing for me was a mental struggle. The food tasted great, and I learned what I really liked, and I ended up. I remember asking you about midway through.
But it's broad, isn't it?
It was very broad.
Restricted.
It was very broad, but it was also. I did find myself gravitating towards things for 2 reasons. Number one, it was either easy to make, or 2, it just really tasted good. So green beans and strawberries for me became a staple at almost every meal, or every other meal to that matter, and that made it easier. But I also felt somewhat guilty about always eating strawberries because that was kind of my dessert, if you will. So I'd throw in oranges or grapefruit or other types of apples,
good fibers, good sugars, good
things
fiber.
like that. Yeah. So I did all that, but I think for me the when I say mental was the idea of can't. I can't have this. I can't have that. I can't have a bite of this. Even if I can tell myself I can't have the whole thing, the word can't for me was a huge obstacle mentally. And usually the way that I got over it was by drinking more water, or I'd bite on a strawberry.
And I gave you some ideas too about, it's not in the book, it's not in the program. It's just kind of stuff that I've played with all along with the hundreds of times that I've done this thing and gave you a few ideas of what you can.
That's right.
Munch on.
That's right, and that helped a lot.
Almonds, cashews,
Yep.
Kind of stuff like that.
That helped a lot.
Just some fillers, some good fats,
right.
good fillers.
Something to chew.
Something to chew.
People who like to eat like to chew. So I like to eat, and so I needed something to chew on. That was great. That worked fine.
It wasn't your finger.
Right.
All right, or your pencil or whatever. So, all right, let's go over results. So you started 227.4.
Right.
And you finished at?
Was it 200.2?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, 200.2. And you actually said you dropped down below 200. Now, your goal, what was your goal, Rich?
So my original goal was 205.
Yeah.
My stretch goal was 200. As I got to 205 with 1 week left, I really felt I could get to 199.9. I wanted to see the south side of 200 so bad, but I didn't. I got to 200.2, and I was overjoyed with that anyway.
That's cool.
But it would have been nice to see the 0.1 less than 200, but I'm not disappointed at all.
Yeah, and that's an amazing job. And you followed the program. I mean, you really did.
That's right. I didn't cheat.
You didn't cheat
at all.
You just did what was laid out in front of you, and coordinated with me quite a bit, communicated with me quite a bit.
That's right.
And just knocked it out.
That's exactly right. Writing things down every day actually helps.
Yeah, you got a journal in this thing.
And I used the MyFitnessPal on the iPhone, which was great. It keeps you in check.
What other tools did you?
Those are the main ones that I used. I try not to deviate too much because I felt that if I got advice from one location versus another, I'd get conflicting information. So I went with one version of the truth, which for me was MyFitnessPal and the handbook that came with the program. That was it.
So for those of you who don't know what MyFitnessPal is, literally that's what it's called, MyFitnessPal, PAL. Just an app to go out and track, daily consumption. It'll give you can plug in anything. Like, I just had a Sonic cheeseburger, and it'll tell you how many calories are in that Sonic cheeseburger. Or I had an apple or an egg, and it'll tell you exactly how many calories. So when we are kind of counting, which we do count on this program, you're making aware of it. So it's a great app so you can really follow along.
And where it wasn't, if I didn't eat out very often, but when I had to, due to whatever reasons, obviously not every restaurant's going to be in MyFitnessPal. So you get honest with yourself about what you just ate, right? So you don't have a scale with you, which by the way I did buy a digital scale, but you don't have a scale with you, so you have to kind of measure your food. And I believe you told me as well at one point that if you have to go over because the portion size are larger, go over in protein. Yeah. And so that's what I commonly did, was go over in protein.
Cool. And it's not low carb. You have carbs. Right. You're getting them from vegetables. You're getting them from fruit. But you're eating from the farmer's market. You're getting whole organic, fruits, vegetables, and meats.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Absolutely.
We stay away from all the processed stuff. So 27 and some change pounds. Also, where was the biggest inches, man? You dropped 12.25, so 12 and a quarter inches total loss off your body. The biggest portion of that coming from your waist.
Correct.
Now I'm going to throw up on here. I'll put it on, but you'll see his before and after picture, and you can see. Actually, I saw it first, all on your face, man. Everybody started talking about how your face had really thinned out.
Right.
So that's really cool.
Right.
But we do an 8-point measurement, different body parts, and a total of 12 and a quarter. That's awesome. So what's that like in the closet now?
Well, nothing fits. Everything's like a sheet now. Even the stuff that was tight on me before, which is, it's a good problem to have. Yeah. But now I'm obviously having to shop a little bit more and figure things out. Because whether I'm a large or whether I'm still an extra large, trying to fit into there is somewhat of a challenge. But this is a good challenge to have, and it's nice.
Very cool.
It is nice.
So now, post 42 days.
Right.
We're into the maintenance, we call it maintenance mode, and how's that going?
It's going really well. I was just telling Will earlier that I had bounced up to, I think, 205, and I've been out of this 3 or 4 weeks now. So I'd gone up to 205, and then was able to just regiment myself and recheck myself I'm actually right back down to 202 again. But it wasn't because I was eating poorly. I actually have done really, really well. You should ask my wife, Lorraine. She is just like, who are you? Because there's a thing of cupcakes in front of me and I won't touch them. Or I haven't had sweet tea. I haven't had any bread other than the flat bread.
So we have addressed the sugar cravings portion of this. And I talk about that. But this thing will really change some of the brain chemistry and get you off of some of this
Yeah.
sugar and cravings and behavior modification.
That's
a
right.
big deal.
That's right. And that's kind of how I accepted this whole plan. Was it wasn't just a diet for me. It was a lifestyle change. And I'm not going to tell you a lie. I'm a Southern man. I love my sweet tea, and I still want my sweet tea, but I don't crave it like I used to.
Yeah, cool.
And I'm able to do without it. And I'm still in my competitive mode where I'm still challenging myself to extend well beyond the program.
So at 45, are you a healthier guy?
I'm a much healthier guy. I feel so much stronger. I'm
You're working out
faster.
again. Yeah.
I'm faster. I'm working out. My son and I work out all the time together, and it's just been. I'm not fatigued like I used to be.
Life's good.
I'm not carrying it around anymore.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, would you recommend this program?
I absolutely would. In fact, I've recommended it to several people. I can only lead a horse to water. I can't make them drink. But I've talked to a lot of people about it. I think a lot of people are frustrated with things they've tried. And
Is it hard?
It wasn't really that hard. It's not hard. It actually isn't hard. Eating right takes some effort. It takes some cash. It's like a little expensive to eat healthy. But it was all, for me, it's all worth it. And I've talked to a lot of people who've been having struggles with their own weight when they see what I've done. I did my blog research. I did my video research. I've watched every one of your video casts as well before I got into this. So I knew what I was getting into from a results perspective. And there is no doubt that I achieved the same thing, if not more. So I've been thrilled by it.
So, that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah.
You got anything else to add? I don't know if I do.
No, I think that's about it.
That
I'm
covered it,
thrilled.
right?
Thank you.
Awesome, man.
Thank you for your leadership through this. This has been great.
Absolutely. Well, it takes a good patient, right? It takes somebody with patience, and they've got to want to make a change. You got to come to the plate with a desire to make a change.
Right.
And you can work with those folks. So you did.
That's right.
Dude, that was awesome. So what I want you to do now is, if you're listening on the podcast, be sure to like this, share it with others that you may think that could help from this program. And then if you're watching, on YouTube or whatever, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video as well.
Absolutely.
But all right, buddy.
Thank you, Will.
Good job, man.
Appreciate it, bud.
That was awkward as heck.
We'll do this way. All right.
All right. Ready?
Okay. Let's do it.
All right, nice and relaxed. All right, so, hey, we're doing something different today. I don't even know what camera. Let's look at that camera right there.
Very active as a child. Very active as...
It quit.
I think it did. Did it die?
It quit already. Something died. Where's my stuff at? Let's do it one more time.
All right.
This thing says movie recording has been stopped automatically.
Did it not record?
Here today, what's up, Rob?
Hey,
What's
good
up,
to see you.
Good to see you. All right. Oh my gosh. Tired already. Take 3. Wonder why that thing isn't recording. I wonder how much I got.